Hello everyone, and welcome to another MuseVlog out of the blue. Hello, Handsome Ratch, Tech Deck, Bold Blue Jay, Johan, Lee, Lobsol, Village Idiot, welcome. Today is going to be pretty, basically just an announcement of things that I'm working on that are coming soon. Hello Akatsuki. For one, the Bayonetta book, links in the description, pre-orders only go one more day. So if you want to get a physical copy, do that. I haven't been streaming much this week, so I didn't get to announce that as much as I wanted, but oh well, things happen. The ebook will be in the store tomorrow, so, Bayonetta book. Hello, Natasha. The bigger announcement is plans for next month, which crept up on me out of nowhere. I basically blinked Friday and was like, oh yeah, Pride Month's coming. I had some plans for it and had been working on something for a while and then just didn't realize how close it was. So here I am to give an announcement for what we're going to be doing. Hello, and yes, hello Jeff, and thank you for appreciating my beautiful shirt. P5R win? Not for a while, Akatsuki. As is, for folks who don't know, June is Pride Month, a celebration of all things queer, and I wanted to do something a little more, something to celebrate, but also something that's, like, in my wheelhouse, something that I could do that would be interesting and helpful, and I went back to my roots, where my interest in religion first came from, wanting to understand why I had been taught to think certain things about certain people because of Christianity in my religion. And so what we're going to be doing is a deep dive into Christianity and more generally Western thought and why we think today in the West about sexuality and gender the way that we do. We're going to go all the way back to the ancient world and start with discussing queers in history. Where Christianity came from, what Christians thought at that time, people that were queer and Christian, and go over a couple hundred years of history to explain how ideas of sexuality and gender evolved in these traditions, and why today you still see people in the United States and in Europe and other places still feeling very strongly about certain things because they are leftovers from hundreds of years of history. We're going to talk about the immediate creation of Christianity, the writing of the Bible, how it was translated, political movements that influenced and had an effect on what doctrines of Christianity became popular, how specific writers influenced the way that we think about Christianity, how specific writers got cut out and forgotten about because they didn't serve a political purpose, because they didn't help people in power to do what it was they wanted to do. We'll talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. We'll talk about Leviticus. We'll talk about Paul, these people that have been used to argue against different kinds of sexualities and genders and things, and talk about what they actually mean and where they came from and why they existed. It's going to be a lot. Will you let us read relevant Bible passages? Yes, I'm actually going to try. What I'm working on right now is kind of creating a sort of a work at home kind of go along with the lectures, I guess, kind of project where Patreon and YouTube you'll have some study material, some stuff to follow along with while we're talking about this. It'll be every Monday through Friday, about 1 or 2, I think 2 p.m. seems to be the high point, probably about 2 hours discussing various pieces of history. I don't know that it'll be within a kind of a timeline. I'm working on how I want to arrange it, but I just feel like going timeline-wise isn't possibly the best way to understand it. It'll probably be more like topic-wise. Specific writers that influenced things. Translations of the Bible that influenced things. Religions that influenced this religion. A lot of different topics that we'll cover. I've been basically creating a huge document to go with this, going through all my old textbooks and things. Literally, I mean, I studied it for 4 years in college, and I've been pulling out all my old textbooks and going through them again, things that I haven't read since, like, 2012, all my old notes. Oh, man. I was very young and looking for understanding and looking to know why I felt the way I did and why my religion felt the way about me that it did. And man, that was really, it opened my eyes to the fact that there's so much more that we are not taught, and so much to religion that is personal. That ultimately, how Christ feels about you is how you feel about Christ. Not how the church feels about you, not how other people feel about you, you know. It's personal. It's a personal relationship. And we'll go through why the church and other things have changed that, and what they thought in the original story, how Greeks influence this, how Romans influence this, how, in general, a lot of the reactions to different kinds of sexuality had a lot more to do with reactions to power and to empire than it necessarily did to sex itself. Especially as the idea of an identity of sex didn't always exist in Christianity. It did in Rome, but not necessarily in Christianity. But we will go over all that. I wanted to give an announcement to kind of say, hey, this is what's up, this is what I'm going to be working on. I will try and do streams of stuff as well, like games and things, but probably not the first couple days, because I am kind of hurrying to organize everything. But once it's all organized, we may also do some, like, maybe some queer games, something like that. We'll have to see. Hello, folks jumping in. Welcome. Yeah, it'll be a first Bible study I attend. It's a lot. I feel like a lot of folks would want to understand more, whether it's because they are Christian or they feel isolated from the religion they grew up with, or they aren't religious, but it has such an influence on everything in the West that they still want to understand why. Like, there's a lot of reasons why you might want to approach and understand this stuff, but it's just so overwhelming. I mean, language-wise, culture-wise, it covers so much history and so much, like, I have a step ahead just because I spent 4 years in college on it, you know? If I hadn't done that, I would probably be drowning. There's a way of thinking about this stuff that you really have to be taught to be able to address it and understand it. So I want to make it accessible to more people. Why is that so dark? Is that why? Let me move that. If I get rid of that, I don't know why that's in front of the chat now. It's weird. I'll have to mess with that. I guess we'll just take that away for now. Anyway, yeah, I want to make it accessible for people. I want people to be able to, like, you know, understand and defend themselves when other people try to use their faith or your faith or their faith against you. And it's not going to be like, boo, Christian. Like, there's so much to Christianity and its history that is erased and forgotten that is so beautiful and meaningful and important today. Like, the way that the faith so completely changed how people saw themselves, their relationship to God, and their relationship to the world, it was revolutionary. It was enormous. It was good. It changed a lot of things. It's just now that we are removed from that context, a lot of the changes and the things that they said are taken out of context, where discussions about what is appropriate in sex had a lot less to do with what they personally thought you were allowed to enjoy, and a lot more to do with the way that sex was used as a weapon of oppression, the way that it was used by the powers that be, the way that it controlled people's lives. There's so much to go over. There's so much history, so much. So every Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., we may do other things. It will be on this channel, because this is the biggest channel I have. I can use my main streaming service. I have to pay for it, and I don't want to pay for it twice, so I'm not going to put it on the smaller channel. But after they are streamed, like a couple days later, I will be moving them to the secondary channel. So for the long term, you'll be able to find them over there, but live streamed, they will be here. So follow the second channel if you want to see more of my non-video gaming stuff in general. This will be on this channel, but that's for my ease, you know, to make it easier for me. As a pagan, this sounds really refreshing to me. We are going to be studying a lot of that as well, because there's so much, like, paganism that influences Christian thought, and a lot of Christianity was a response to paganism, but as a dominant religion. Because you have to remember, today Christianity is the dominant religion, but back then Christianity was the minority, the tiny minority, because it was even smaller than Judaism to start. And Judaism was a sanctified religion. Like, the Romans didn't really get the Jews, but they were allowed to exist. They were allowed to break the law in certain extents. They didn't have to worship the emperor. They were allowed. Christians were not. Christians were killed for centuries for just, like, vibing. And there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of political reasons for why they thought the Christians were dangerous. And then all that flipped when the Christians became the power with Constantine. A lot of things changed. And it's really interesting. We will, if we have time, I think we will have time, we will get to the modern, like, Protestant Reformation, the Puritans, King James, America, and stuff like that. Why America has this huge Puritan strain in it that's so freaking weird if you think about where we were supposed to have started. But we'll get to all that, because I think it'd be really neat to get to a general sense of why in the modern age we have this, even today, in queer communities, you have this reaction to sex and what sex is appropriate, even in fiction, like all these arguments about like what kind of kinks are appropriate or not. It all comes from the roots of Christianity, that even today queers can't shake off the shackles of the ideas of what is sexually appropriate and what's not. And it all comes back from this. Especially the United States has this strain of Puritanism that comes from the fact that King James and his bros had some issues. And anyway, we will get to all that. I don't know if we'll get any further than that era, which is like the 1600s. I haven't planned ahead of that, but maybe we will. We'll see. If we're doing Monday through Friday, I think we'll probably, give or take if I miss a day or two, have like 20 days. So 20 days to cover about 2,000 years of history. We'll see if we get there. Starting not tomorrow, but Tuesday is the 1st of June, right? So, tomorrow I think we're doing a Discord movie watch, and then maybe I'll try and finish DMC. We'll see. I'd like to finish DMC if we can get to that. Abrahamic religions are complicated. Yes. There's also complications in the fact that it can be hard to talk about these things when there's such a blend of things. Like, Abrahamic is a term that's used to refer to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam in a way that kind of tries to be more inclusive. Judeo-Christian's another one, but it's not really a good one because people generally tend to use it to just mean Christian, but to kind of throw Judeo in there because, oh, well, the Old Testament is Jewish. It's not. The Old Testament at this point is a Christianization of a Jewish text. It's so removed from Judaism that you don't call it that. And the fact that there's also basically 4 Bibles, the Eastern Orthodox, the Catholic, the Christian, Protestant. See me, I'm Protestant, so I say this is the whole thing. Protestant and the Jewish, and all of them have similar books and similar things, but they change the order. The Catholic and Eastern have some things that we don't. Anyway, we'll get into all this. There's so much. But my hope is to give an understanding for why we have the modern attitudes towards sex and gender that we do, to give an understanding that this is not new. People like us have always existed and have had different kinds of lives throughout history, and that the evidence given today to try and put us down really doesn't come from a place of faith. It comes from politics. It comes from history being diluted and forgotten about. And, we're cool. God likes us. I've thought about calling this series God Loves Gays. I don't know. That might be the title. I haven't decided. What movie tomorrow? We're going to be finishing up this series called Word of Honor, which is a gay show. It's now on Netflix, even though I've heard the translation is iffy, because Netflix translations are always a little iffy. But it's on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's a great show. Yeah. I will try also to throw into these things like little, famous gay, media that's gay, like different things like that, suited to the time period. Like, for instance, the long lost Babylonian lesbian novel, Babyloniaca. We mourn you, long lost lesbian novel, in which a lesbian princess falls in love and gets married to a woman. Everyone pour out a drink for the long lost novel. Babylonica. Anyway, we will get to all that. It'll be fun. I'm excited about it. I'm very much, like, just going back through and going through a bunch of texts and trying to organize all my thoughts into notes. How I read books is I write down when I'm reading it. I underline and highlight things that kind of summarize what's going on, important lines. I mark out sections on specific things, so when I go back to write essays or things like this, I can just skip through and be like, oh, underlined, oh, that's important, and so I can, like, read a book in, like, 5 minutes, once I've read it and annotated it. So that's what I'm doing today. Rereading Adam, Eve, and the Serpent, which is really anything by Elaine Pagels. I'm gonna have to, like, write her a letter and say thank you, because all of your books are the reason I understand anything. Karen Armstrong, too. She's pretty great. Lillian Faderman, great lesbian researcher. I'm reading this one for the first time. This one's pretty great. Love Between Women, Early Christian Responses to Female Homoeroticism. Bernadette J. Bruton. Some good stuff in here. I will definitely share my resources as we go, so that if you want to, like, deep dive into whatever it is we're doing, you'll have the books to be able to find and read. But yeah, unless people have questions or thoughts or concerns, that's really, I just wanted to let people know what I'm working on and what we're going to be doing, so it wouldn't just come out of the blue on Tuesday. I'll also make a post on my various social medias. Bayonetta book, link in the description. Ebook will be up tomorrow. Other than that, join the Discord and hang out. Join the social medias to keep up with stuff. As I said, it'll be streamed on here, which means it'll also be on Twitch and Facebook, which is also something I can't do on the second channel. So, one of the reasons we're doing this here, rather than my non-video game channel. But it will, for the long term, it will move there. So, if you want to check out all my other stuff, link is in the description. You can find my second channel. Aw, thank you, Yanni. I hope people enjoy it, because it definitely has been something that meant a lot to me to kind of see that this stuff, we've always been here. Always. And, the reasons for the way we think about sex and gender are not innate. It's not human nature to be bigoted towards these things. We were taught to be that way for political reasons, and now it's just a holdover of ancient history and things that happened thousands of years ago. I'm very excited to get to it, but I have one more day to prepare, so I will try and add some extra stuff for members. Like I said, the study guide things, I'm going to try and do some stuff there, but we'll see what I finish and when, and we'll try and do some other, like, queer-related game streams and stuff. No offense, but the shirt's super gay. Well, that's great. I appreciate that, Phil. That's very important to me. And this symbol is actually the devil. Don't tell my family. I get great enjoyment from wearing it publicly in the American's house. It just makes me happy that no one knows what it is, because they just don't know their own faith and traditions and history, and we're going to change that. You're going to know if you join these videos. So yeah, I'm going to get back to preparing for that. I will stream tomorrow if we finish up our movies. I don't know. If we watch the whole end of that series, we may not have time, but it'd be good if I could... I may try and still beat Devil May Cry afterward, if we start early enough. We'll have to schedule it in the Discord. Thanks again, and I will see you guys tomorrow and Tuesday for the lessons. 2 p.m. Mark your calendar. And see you later. Bye.